Well, I have a story to share with you
And what is
on
that?
what's popping today.
Uh-huh.
And it has to be with the backlash that Chris Rock is surprisingly now receiving, because initially, after those clips began to circulate of his next Netflix special, I mean, everyone was like, wow, he has destroyed Will Smith. Will Smith is not going to recover, because he said some really harsh things towards Will Smith, like
Yeah.
a verbal smackdown of epic proportions. I mean,
Yes.
it was vulgar, it was obscene, it was full of, it was emotional, it was, yo, he roasted Will Smith in that segment. And so at first everyone was like cheering him on, like, yeah, you did it, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then now I'm starting to see an avalanche of a counter reaction of people say, but wait a minute, why you gotta call Jada the B word like that? So many times. And now there's a slew of articles talking about how he's now apparently obsessed with Jada. And then people are exploring the relationship that they've had, that he's had a toxic obsession with Jada. And now they're attempting to paint him in a negative light, and it looks like it's working or it's catching on.
No, I actually, when we did this story yesterday, a lot of responses that I read from social media, people were bashing Chris Rock and saying that his take or his approach on the whole situation was um how can I what word can I
Petty?
use? Petty and childish, for lack of a word, and he was basically throwing a big tantrum. A lot of people did say that he could have there could have been a better approach in which he addressed it. However, he as in, it just shows that he, I do not know, had no self-control, and it just became very corny. Some people called it corny, others called it very tasteless, others called it very immature. And for me, on social media, especially on Twitter, he's not getting any positive reviews. I think he got a bit of positive reviews from the ladies on The View. You know, The View with Whoopi Goldberg. A few ladies on the show were like, oh yeah, he was funny, but there were some really cringe moments in there, and everybody was like, maybe
I think
you shouldn't have
initially,
said that.
okay, so my initial reaction was like everyone else's. You know, we all have a flair for drama.
Yeah.
So if someone's roasting someone, we're going to jump on that and be
Yeah.
like, whoa, yay. But then upon second viewing, you know, when I'm now calm and I'm just listening to what he's saying, I'm like, but he really... this really hasn't done much for him. Like, it's not really helped him that he's gone in this direction. I think there would have been more clever and subtle ways that he could have made his point,
Yeah.
that I think would have stuck and stung more than him just really going on a foul-mouthed tirade.
He made himself really look, it was a bad look, honestly. For me, it was a bad look. And also him having to say that for him, when he was raised, his parents raised him not to fight in front of white people, and yet he was bringing his fight with Will Smith in front of white people. So people were like, come on.
They didn't raise
Stay-
him well enough to not spout such foul language.
Exactly.
So what
address
is
the situation in which that he did. As in, it wasn't even fun. For me, I actually watched the special last night.
The whole of
it, and I was just like, it just keeps getting worse.
I hear that
it wasn't
parts
even
of it.
funny.
Some people are saying parts of it were okay.
Parts of it were okay, but when he was addressing the Will Smith situation, that was very cringe in every way. Even the slave comments, like, so I like watch him. It's just like, come on.
Yeah. That and as we talked about it yesterday, even his delivery wasn't his best. It sounded very stunted. He made mistakes. He just was repeating himself. You could tell he was trying to find the words and just losing it in the process.
Yeah.
But anyway, grown men fighting. What a shame.
He came off like it was a drunken rant.
That's how it came across. And funny enough, for some people, that to them, that's what made it powerful. That it was raw emotions. So mistakes and all, that was just him speaking from his heart. And so for that alone, it was a valuable rant. That's what some people are saying.
Could be.
Right? But I think the better approach would have been just being calm, being sarcastic, and just indirect.
Exactly.
And being classy.
I think that would have worked, but he wasn't classy at all. Actually, that's also a good way to describe it. It wasn't classy at all.
Well, anyway, what are you going to do, eh?
And I think he was just really mad because he brought up a lot of things that really had nothing to do with him. he should have just addressed that slap in itself because it was what he was slapped for.
Then
Not
he brought up
because
his beef with Jada.
he brought up the entanglement. We already know all this. So him speaking on that and yet it had nothing to do with him was absolutely ridiculous. But I guess but anyway, he laughed his way all the way to the bank. He got about 40 million for that special.
Really?
40 million US dollars.
Well, he certainly
so,
earned it.
mm.